Welcome to Adjusted Reality, a podcast series trusted by the adjusted and brought to you by the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress, where we learn from athletes, celebrities, influencers, and healthcare professionals about how to optimize health in a fun, relatable way. Join me, Dr. Sherry McAllister, as we dive into the secrets of optimizing your golf experience with the author of Body Friendly Golf, Dr. Darcy Dill. We will explore topics like strengthening your physiology, preventing common golf injuries, and designing a body that's not just healthy, but finely tuned for exceptional golf. Dr. Darcy Dill has been a chiropractor for over 40 years. In that time, he has treated a lot of golfers. His specialty is taking an injured golfer and making him or her a better golfer than they were before the injury. He has created a program called Body Friendly Golf and written a book on it with the same name. It helps the golfers become better by working on the body and its ability to swing a golf club. He also helps the golfer take the violence out of his golf swing, so it becomes more body friendly. By working on the body and the swing, his patients are able to play better golf and play for longer in their life all round. He currently lives and practices in Palm Springs, California, has been teaching his program for the last 10 years at Ironwood Country Club. In addition to being a chiropractor, he's a certified personal trainer as well as a level 2 gravity golf instructor. We're thrilled to have you with us, Dr. Dill.
Thank you, Sherry. I'm happy to be here.
You know, the best part of having authors is they've done the book. They recognize the wisdom that went into the book. But what I love having authors talk about, number one is why first did you write the book? And then after writing the book, you had epiphanies along the way. So let's start with why you wrote the book and then share with us a little bit of the epiphanies after writing the book that you wish you had known before you wrote the book.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good. Okay. Well, I started golf when I was in high school, and I wasn't very good. I was on the golf team, but I was the last man on the golf team, and so I didn't play very well. But I loved the game, and as I got older, and then went to chiropractic school, and wanted to play more golf, but as I was playing golf, I was getting back pain, and I'm thinking to myself, here you are, Darcy. You're a chiropractor specializing in back pain, and you're getting back pain playing golf. What's going on here? So I decided to figure out how I'm going to play golf and not hurt playing golf. And especially for me, I got lower back pain when I played golf almost every time I played. And so I figured out a way to get my body in shape so that I don't get back pain playing golf. And part of that is working on your body. And then the other part is working on your golf swing. So I took a lot of the violence out of my golf swing, and I made my body so that I could swing the club.
I love it. You know, a lot of times we end up doing things to figure out ourselves. And
Right.
oftentimes that's the impetus. But I will tell you to the audience, this man wrote this book because he truly has a love for golf. And it's like he oozes the passion of golf in the book. So I'm grateful that you wrote the book because I think a lot of people do have those moments where they want to play, but it also comes with that unfortunate outcome of pain that drives them. And if you're playing a sport and you watch someone like Tiger Woods out there and he has incredible back pain, that sport becomes less fun. So after you wrote the book, share an epiphany that came up to you. You wrote the book and then you thought to yourself, I didn't know that before I wrote the book.
The book took me, it probably took me about 3 years to write it. And I spent a lot of kind of time researching and doing what I felt like. I didn't know a lot about golf. I mean, I wasn't a golf pro. I'm still not a golf pro. But I wanted to figure out what are the mechanics, what does the body really do when it swings a golf club, and what really happens when you're swinging the club. And I was trying to look at it from a physiological, doctor point of view and looking at it. And so I learned a lot of things about the body that I didn't know in chiropractic school. And in chiropractic school, we learn how to pass the boards and get established in a practice. But the real things we learn to do, we have to kind of work on ourselves. And we go to seminars and we figure out how things work. And that's pretty much what I did with my book. And I had a great time doing it. I mean, I loved it. I had a very busy practice, and I just decided, I don't want to really bust myself in a practice anymore. I want to enjoy life more. And golf is a big part of my enjoyment of life.
I think it is, as we know, statistically a big part of America's pastime. And
Yeah.
people do really enjoy it because not only is it a physical sport, it gets you out in nature. And we know that being out with our friends, our social connections, our ability to enjoy the beauty that most golf courses offer is really fantastic. And as I was reading through your book, one of the pieces that stood out that might shock our listeners is actually the impact of golf. So 75% of golfers, as you noted in your book, will get at least one debilitating injury from swinging a golf club. That's a lot. So those golfers out there, you might be one of the 75. So please listen in closely to Dr. Dill's information. But the other piece that was rather astounding, it is the golf swing affects the spine with loading mechanisms that are rapid, complex, and intense. And it generally compression loads of 1,500 pounds, more than 8 times the body weight in both amateur and professionals. That's astounding. So it kind of makes sense why 75% of the people actually do end up getting injured. So talk to me a little bit about the injuries that you saw, and then what inspired you to try to figure out, how do I help these people?
Well, a lot of the reason people get injured in golf is a lot of times they put a lot of pressure into their body. So instead of swinging a golf club, so the energy goes into this club and to the ball, people swing a golf club so the energy goes back into their body and their spine. And so what I try to do is figure out, how do you swing a golf club so that there's no energy going back into the body? And so that's really the key thing. You want to get your body fit for golf, but you don't want to be one of these guys that are, a big gym rat type of person who's really fit and strong, and he's just going to use this violent swing to just get. And I've worked with a lot of people, and they're very strong and they're very fit, but they're horrible golfers, and they get pain in their body. And so I'm a big fan of. I mean, I call it golf fitness. But golf fitness is different than sort of general fitness. I mean, general fitness is working all the different fitness items, but golf, you want to be more specific to, how does the body really swing a golf club, and what does it take to do it so that it can do it regularly and often and without a lot of energy going back into the body.
Excellent point. And one of the things I want to showcase is the most common injury is, in fact, low back pain. And for men and women, actual injuries after low back pain, they actually differ a little bit. And so reading through your book, for men, it goes into first low back pain, and then it starts to go into the other areas of the spine. One of the pieces that I noted was women typically get shoulder injuries, then elbow injuries, and last but not least, wrist injuries. But that's not the case with men. So share with me just a gender specific, why do women and men tend to have different golf injuries?
Well, women in general, I mean, women that are good golfers usually are better at swinging the club more efficiently because they don't have the muscles that men do. Men can muscle the ball down the fairway and they can be pretty good at it for a while. And then as they start to get older and their muscles start to get diminished, they can't do it anymore. And they get frustrated because now I'm losing a lot of distance. And so what women are better at using their body weight to power the ball. And that's what I try to emphasize with people. Don't hit the ball with muscle, hit it with your body mass and get that body mass moving towards the target in an effortless way. And that's really how you want to power the ball.
I love it. So I see women tend to get more shoulder injuries versus men.
Uh,
Is that again because they are perhaps a little less strong when they do their swing, or where do you fit that kind of killer instinct into the ball that men have that women don't? Is that where the shoulder comes in for women?
well, I don't know the difference between too much testosterone and a little less progesterone or more progesterone. I'm not sure how that works, but I like you say, lower back pain is the number one injury in golf, and shoulder problems are definitely part of it. What I'm trying to do is get people to use their body rotation to be the power for the to be power of the ball, and that requires a certain amount of shoulder stability. So
Right.
when I'm working with people, one of the things I always try to emphasize is get soft arms. Get it so your arms are kind of dropping, and then you start your swing from there. A lot of people, they power the ball in a lot of different ways, and one of them is they like to chop from the top. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're basically chopping the club down onto the ball, which is not great for your shoulders. So I like to work with shoulders. I guess uh, I'm not exactly sure why women get more shoulders and men get more back. But I do see a lot of shoulder pain. I do see a lot of back pain in my golfers, but I can't tell you why one is more than the other.
Sure. It makes sense. And you kind of go through the extremities from low back, then and elbow, wrist, and you also noted knee. So the basics of being able to play golf is one piece of being flexible, stable, strong, and then have greater balance, the coordination that is needed. And when you combine all those pieces, as you did so eloquently in the book, in the actual pictures that Dr. Dill has put together in this book really help you focus where your potential weaknesses is, because everybody's coming into golf with different status, different strength, different flexibility. And Dr. Dill, you did a really nice job of really looking at the swing and where that weakness can come in and where potential injuries can happen. And we want to play a happy, healthy game. So let me ask you, as you were developing the strategies to improve four of the basics: flexibility, stability, mobility, and balance, what were some of the things that you saw to help golfers be stronger? And I kind of noted, I love your quotes in your book. One from Tiger Woods is the best tool you have for golf is your body. And it made me smile because spoken truly from a chiropractic mouth.
Right.
um, but share with us some of the things that you see on a 60,000 foot level, because they should read the book to really get the big picture of it. But what are you looking at when you're talking about flexibility and balance and strength?
Well, as you know, Tiger Woods was a chiropractic patient. He used chiropractors all the time in his, and he, of course, he got a lot of overuse injuries. So the thing about your body is you've always got some weak link somewhere in your body. What you want to do is find that weak link. And so in my book, I have a number of tests that you can do to figure out, well, what is the weak link in my ability to swing a golf club in terms of the body's ability, and then work on that link. And, as a chiropractor, I try to work on the nervous system and trying to make sure that the nerves are functioning properly in the area that you're trying to work on, but also giving you specific exercises. So there's thousands of exercises you can do to make yourself more fit, more coordinated, more balanced. And so we can't just do all those exercises. We got to figure out, okay, and I like to give someone like a program so they can just do something for, say, 20 minutes, 2 or 3 times a week. And so they can focus on what is their weak area and then strengthen that weak area so that you're kind of more balanced, so that your weak area kind of matches your stronger areas. And so your body kind of works in a more functional unit. So
love it.
Answered your question. Sure.
That's very helpful, because I think oftentimes we just want to focus on the swing. Like, if I can swing better, I can golf better. But that's
Right.
not actually the case. And I think your book kind of dispels that, is that you kind of have to look at this almost as a 360-degree view of golf, which is, yes, tools are important. Obviously, the golf club and the choices of tools that you're using are very important. We're not going to, we know TaylorMade would be happy to tell you that, if you want to be a better golfer, clearly you have to have great clubs, right? But
yeah, every year you should get a new driver too. Don't forget that part.
See, there's all of these pieces. Equipment is great. But what we really want to focus today on is helping that golfer really recognize where the weakness is and how it impacts their golf swing. And one piece of this that might be surprising for many golfers out there is actually balance. And why balance is so important, because people will think, well, I'm golfing with 2 feet on the ground, so how important is balance? So touch on that, Dr. Dill, because I know you've seen a lot of injuries in your time. Why is balance an important aspect of this golf game?
Well, balance is very important, because if you don't implement balance in your golf swing, you're going to be, like you said, 2 feet on the ground, chopping at the ball. That's how people, when you watch a child, you give them a golf club, you put a ball on the ground, say, okay, hit that ball. The child will just chop at the ball, but in a good golf swing, it's a sling. Your arms are soft, your body's turning, and you're rotating through the ball. That's how you want to hit the ball. You don't want to hit the ball with a chop. You also don't want to hit the ball with a sway or a slide. You don't want to squat thrust. There's a lot of different ways to power a ball. And so I've kind of figured out that the way that I think is easiest on the body is if you maximize your ability to rotate through the ball. And if you can rotate through the ball with a gentle turn, there's almost no stress on the body.
I like how you're talking about rotation, because for people that are fully aware of their biomechanics, they can feel through each area of the swing what part of the spine is involved. And for those of you that never really thought about it, there are 3 parts to your spine if you take away the neck, which I'd like you to touch on. But there's the thoracic, which is the middle back. There is the lower back, often forgotten is the hips. But the actual components of how the neck, mid back, low back, and hips all kind of functionally work together. Each piece has a very specific and important part to being able to have that very smooth, back-friendly swing. Can you talk about the neck? Because, I often see people grab their shoulders and after a swing, or they'll push on their low back as if it's going to help move it through. But the neck is actually a very important part of being able to appropriately, have that back friendly swing. Can you talk a little bit about each part of the spine and the role that it plays?
Okay. Well, we could spend a couple of hours on that question, but just to give you the Reader's Digest version, you want to be able to turn you want your hips to be more mobile. So you want to be able to turn with your hips. you want your lower back to be more stable. So you're not using a lot of the turn. You don't want a lot of the turn to come from your lower back. You want it to come from your hips and your upper thoracic spine if possible. And so I try to work on when you're warming up. And of course, a warm up is a very specific thing you can do. You want to warm up those segments that you want to be using during your round of golf. So you want more mobility in the upper thoracic spine. Just in general, for the chiropractic postural version, your upper thoracic spine has a tendency to hump over. We get like the dowager's hump syndrome. And you want to get more flexibility, not only for your posture, but also your ability to turn through the ball. So more stability in the lower back, more flexibility in the hips, more flexibility in the upper thoracic spine. And you want to have the ability to rotate your head, because you want to be able to, as you're not rotating your head in the golf swing, but your head is a pretty stable element helping you to maintain your posture. So your spine, your cervical spine, works as you rotate your thoracic spine through like that. So, yeah. And then, of course, because this is a chiropractic podcast, that all the muscle, all the nerves that go, they innervate the shoulders, arms, and hands and torso, all that come out of the cervical spine. So it's a pretty important thing.
And I think we sometimes underestimate how much impact happens through the rotation of the swing. And it's often why, like you're trying to figure out, I love golf. I don't love the back pain that comes after golf. And I need to figure out what are my weak spots. And also being able to enjoy a game is being able to relax into it. And if you could think back to some of the things that you often see, and this happens to me when I go into the gym, is sometimes I just have to like look down because I see people doing some exercises so drastically wrong that I contemplate, is it malpractice to not say something? So let me ask you this. So you've been doing this for a while. It's probably difficult not to want to tap people at the golf course and tell them, you'd have a back friendly swing if you did X, Y, or Z. Share a few stories with us about you being on the course, some of the things you've seen, some of the miracles that you've seen probably as well.
Well, I go to the driving range fairly often, because one of the things I like to teach people to do is to practice your golf swing and do it with certain kinds of drills that force you to swing the club in a certain way. So I'm not a big fan of going to the driving range, hitting 100 balls, just using your normal swing. I'm trying to get people to use certain kinds of drills. And so I use a lot of drills developed by David Lee of Gravity Golf, and they're helping people so that they use less arms in their swing. They use more of a turn in their swing, and they swing a little bit easier through the ball. But I see a lot of violent people on the golf course, and it kind of, when you go to the gym, you don't want to just go up to someone and say, hey, you're not doing that exercise right. It's even worse on the driving range.
I'm sure it is.
Want to tell people. I mean, you just kind of, you cringe and you look at them. And if they ask you for help, of course, I'm always happy to help them. But the last thing I want to do is tell people how to swing a golf club, because there's so many theories and people think they know what they're doing. And, you just watch them hit the ball, and you just have to wait for them to reach out, because people aren't going to change really unless they want change. And so I don't try to force people to change. I've been lived long enough to know that people will change when they're ready, and that's just when it happens.
So true. I often am reminded as I grow through the things that I go through is the teacher will appear when the student is ready. And sometimes, sometimes you end up having that unfortunate experience because you needed to find the teacher. And for you, it was, I love golf. I have low back pain, and I have to be my own teacher. So tell me about a miracle. You saw something on, you're on the golf course. Share with me one of your favorite stories on golf, because clearly you spend time out there, and I think it's
well, I don't. I mean, I play a fair amount of golf, but mostly I'm on the ice. say that, but I'm mostly on the driving range because to
Okay.
me that's the most fun. I'm I'm really not. I'm not going to tell people, how to putt or chipping techniques. I'm more on the full swing. I want people to understand to be able to hit the ball with solid ball contact, to be what we call in the golfing world a good ball striker. That's really where people get most of their pain is from that. And so
Right.
that's where I work on most of the people on getting them out of pain is getting them to swing so that their arms are softer, that they're turning through the ball better, and they're more relaxed and they're not chopping at the ball. I mean, I show people how to warm up. That's one of the things to do. I try to get people doing a proper warm up, and then I get people sometimes. I teach transcendental meditation, so sometimes just getting people to get the tension out is just learning how
Yeah.
to calm down and just settle the mind down so that the body can settle down as well.
What a lovely way to improve your golf is really, you're right, is getting into a space where you can flush out all of the mental toxins that build up in our daily lives. Because it happens. We've been through a lot, the entire world, after the unfortunate epidemic of opioid use, misuse, and abuse, and a pandemic that has crushed many parts of our economy and our social well-being. So this golf is kind of like one of those really beautiful ways to connect and
It is.
relax and be in nature. Tell me some of your favorite golf stories that have come up over the
I know
years.
you want me to give you a good story here. I have stories of people that love what I do with them, and it's very fulfilling for me to watch them. I outdrove my foursome. I was the leading guy, and I like I say, I'm not into I sunk that long putt or I got that particular trophy, but I wanted to see him say, you know what? I used to be the shortest guy off the tee in my foursome, and now I'm the longest guy off the tee in my foursome, and I love it. And I don't tell them about you, Dr. Dill, because I don't want them to beat me on my foursome.
Be the secret of Dr. Darcy Dill.
Yeah, right.
I
But
love
I do
it.
see a lot of people using my drills, because a lot of things you want, it's timing. A lot of getting the swing so it's easy in the body is a timing issue. And so you want to get the sequencing right. In other words, you want to get your weight on the front leg a little bit quicker. You want to be able to let your arms drop and then turn through the ball in a gentle way. And as you get kind of tense mentally, those things that I gotta kill the ball starts to work in there, and so getting that kill concept out of people is one of the most satisfying things for me, whether it's in meditation or whether an easy golf swing, so that they're not just because people are so driven, especially I would say golfers especially are a little more driven than the average person, and trying to get them to calm down and relax a little bit can be a challenge sometimes.
I think you're onto something. No pun intended with the drive that they come with.
Right.
And,
No, I agree.
the killer instinct, because the killer instinct in and of itself is two parts. It is fundamentally oftentimes the misread of what you need to do to hit the ball long. And it's
Right.
also the tension that somebody comes with or the company that they keep, which is always an interesting thing. Because if you're going into golf with a business perspective, meaning this is going to be fun, but it also has business attached to it,
Right.
there's a holdback there that I think a lot of golfers need to reflect on, is that it's kind of like you're enjoying something, but you're enjoying it to a point because you have to craft what you're doing while you're doing it. So you're not fully immersed in it. And there was a fellow that was talking to me about happiness, an expert in cognitive behavioral therapy. And he said, when you can fully relax into something, like for example, you're painting a picture and pushing through the artistry, and you take your paintbrush and you just allow your mind and your body to be one as you paint. That is the meditative portion of happiness, is bringing forth the ability to totally relax into it. And I don't think people recognize, yes, we can mix golf with business, but there's still a little bit of tension there of making sure you're getting to the job of business, and are you fully relaxing, and can you take those breaks? What do you think of that? Since I know you do trance meditation, um, share with me your thoughts on it.
Transcendental. It's
Thank
not
you.
transcendental. Yeah. Huh?
Share with me a little bit of what you've learned through transcendental meditation, and how that for you has impacted your golf.
Well, to the first part of your question, I think when you're in your foursome, it's a great way to get to know somebody. I mean, if you want to know, especially if you're looking to work with somebody, watch them play a round of golf. You'll learn a lot about that person watching them play around the golf, because some people, like you say, are extremely aggressive. And how do they handle when they hit the ball well? How do they handle it when they don't hit the ball well? All those things are great ways to sort of understand what a person's personality is like, and what it would be like to work with them in the future. But in terms of meditation, I love to meditate. I've been meditating like twice a day regularly for about longer than I've been a chiropractor. Actually, I was meditating in chiropractic school. I would show up to class a little bit late, and someone would go, "Were you meditating?" I said, "Well, I had a few minutes before my class." And they're like, "You came late to class and you were only meditating," kind of a thing. So I've been doing it a while and I love it, but it's not really what a part of my golf program. I mean, I'd love to encourage people to meditate because I think it's an important part of life. But in terms of learning how to swing the club so it's easy on the body, there are times when you add tension. Like you want power, like, John Daly used to tell us to grip it and rip it, and so people grip it and they rip it. But I tell them the rip part is from the lower body. If you can learn to swing the club like a pitcher throws a ball, he starts with the ground, it goes up his legs, the energy goes up his legs into his hip, into his torso, his arms, and then he throws the ball. If you can make that slow slinging motion into your golf swing, it'll take a huge amount of the tension out of your game, and you'll look better because you won't be so frustrated.
I 100% agree with you. Is a lot of times, if you can mentally see the picture of what you want to perform, the
Right.
body starts to become more of that mental picture. And watching it in slow motion in your mind really does pick up some of the finer details that perhaps you weren't thinking about as you were at the driving range, as an example. Because you're right, being at the driving range, that is the back friendly opportunity to learn the drills, strengthen your weaknesses, and create better balance, stability, mobility in your golf game. And
Yep,
it gives you
that's
time
true.
to just relax into it, because you're not being pushed forward. You're like, hey, play through. Okay, I want to get faster. I want a longer swing. But we want to wrap this up, because we know one of the biggest potentials for golf is being able to effortlessly push the ball longer and straighter with less effort. That's
Right.
that's what I hear. Every golfer's desire is, can I
Sure.
hit the ball longer and straighter with less effort? And the answer for Darcy Dill is yes, because I've read his book. And the book, again, is quite fabulous, because you're going to learn a lot of different exercises, strengthening, and stretches by Dr. Darcy Dill. But tell our audience, kind of tease it up for them, or should I say tee it up for them, on what are some 3 tips that they can walk away with after listening to today's podcast that will help them hit the ball longer and straighter with less effort.
You want to get your weight on the front leg a little bit sooner. So if I was going to the average person saying, what would you do to my swing to make me a little bit more efficient in the way I would swing the club? I would say, try to get less tension in your arms. So I would give them different kinds of exercises so that they can get less tension in their arms, so that there's a momentum that gets started in the downswing. You're not pulling the arms down with your muscles. You're letting the arms fall, and then you're taking that momentum, and then you add the power. You want to add the power after the momentum has started. It's the analogy I like to use in the book is you're pushing a baby in a swing, and the swing comes up, and then the swing comes down, and then you add the power to push. If the swing comes up or starting to come up, and then you're adding the power, or you add the power before the swing is completely finished coming up, then you're going to put a lot of tension back into your body. And putting that tension in your body is really not going to be good for you as you get older.
Gotcha. So relax the arms, number one.
Relax the arms. That's one thing. And be able to turn through the ball. I guess, if I'm going to put it down in the Reader's Digest version, I say relax the arms, have a softer, so your arms will kind of drop in the downswing and be able to turn through the ball. So you're slinging the effortless arms through the ball, and you're not trying to hit the ball. You don't want to strike at the ball. You want to sling through the ball.
Love it. Love it. This was very rewarding to come together, not only because you're looking at helping people enjoy their lives more fully, but also prevent the things that stop us. Because once we can't play the thing that we love to do, and many of you live for that golf game, is having the preventative opportunity to maximize your swing, engage in a fun course of communication with the people that you go out with, but also going to the driving range. Very few people, thank you, Dr. Dill, for bringing it up, but just going to the driving range and having your own peace of mind and going through the drills, working on your own opportunity for growth is so incredibly important. So I want to thank you very much, Dr. Dill. Again, the book is called Body Friendly Golf, and it's certainly something that I think if you love golf, like clearly Dr. Dill does, you'll want to pick this up because you'll figure it out on what you need to do, how you need to focus your time, your talents on building a better golf game. So thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Dill.
Thank you, Sherry. I enjoyed it too.
I want to thank you for tuning in to Adjusted Reality as we spoke to Dr. Darcy Dill about maximizing your performance and minimizing the risk of injury on the course. He gave you some tips, especially about making sure your arms are relaxed on that downswing. Then you want to make sure you're transferring your weight onto that front leg quicker. And last, well, he doesn't want you to kill the ball. He wants you to remember that you need to turn through the ball. We had an interesting conversation offline, and he said, if there wasn't a ball there and you put a piece of popcorn, how much improvement would you have in just your swing itself? So a lot of really fun and good information that he shared with us today. Now, this podcast was brought to you by the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress, and as a special gift for listening today, you can visit f4cp.org/health to get a copy of our Chiropractic Care, a natural approach to health at every stage of life ebook. Now, please don't forget to subscribe, share the podcast with friends and family. There's a golf enthusiast out there who's going to need to remember balance, flexibility, and stability. You can also rate and review this podcast. We appreciate you listening. And if you're feeling so inspired to learn more about chiropractic and how it can impact your golf game, well, don't you worry. We have a Find a Doctor directory for you. You can visit f4cp.org/find a doctor. We appreciate your support. And of course, we look forward to you checking in with us again soon.